Hello and welcome to today's bite-sized English class. Today we're going to be talking about getting around. What is the best way of getting around in your town? Do you have a car? Do you drive everywhere? Or maybe you use public transport like the train or the tube or the bus. Or maybe you have a bicycle and you cycle around. What is the best way of getting around where you live? Today we're going to listen to 3 pieces of talking and then we're going to discuss it afterwards.
Excuse me, can you tell me the fastest way to get to the city centre?
Yes, of course. Are you driving or on foot?
Well, I don't have car, so I guess I would have to take the bus.
Okay, no problem. You can get the bus from just over the road here. It's the number 3 and it takes about 10 minutes to get into the city centre. When you see the big church, you know that you've arrived.
Thanks. Do you know how much it is?
I think for a single fare, it's about £2.
Thank you.
So what did you notice from that discussion? The first thing I wanted to mention was the use of verbs. Now we all know that a verb is a doing word. So when we're talking about getting around, what verbs are we using? Today we talked about being on foot. What do we mean by on foot? That's right, we're talking about walking. And when we're talking about getting around, we can use the specific verb attached to that form of transport. So for example, on foot, we're talking about walking. When we're in the car, we're talking about driving. And when we're on a bike, we're talking about cycling. The second thing I wanted to mention is very often when you ask for information or directions, people will give you landmarks or things to look out for in the streets around you to help you. What landmark did we mention today? That's right, the big church in the city centre. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the single fare. I said that a single fare costs about £2. What do we mean by a single fare? That's right, a single fare is when we're going one way only. If we want to come back again, that's called a return fare and is usually a bit more expensive. Finally, did you notice that we were using all of our polite phrases and words like excuse me and thank you? And this is really, really important when we're asking strangers for help or advice. We're going to move on to the next piece of talking. I live near the city centre and we have a real problem with cars here. Most people come to work by car, so in the morning when people are driving into London or in the evening, it's very busy. I have a car, but I don't drive very often, but I'm an artist, so I usually work from home. So what kinds of discussion did we notice here? First of all, I was talking about the things that I usually do, my daily routine or my habits. So the grammar we're using here is the present simple. If you don't know about the present simple, there is another video explaining more about that. The other thing that I used in this piece of talking was adverbs of frequency. Do you know what I mean by adverbs of frequency? That's right, an adverb of frequency is a word that we can put before or after the verb to tell us a little bit about how regularly we do that thing. So for example, I said I have a car, but I don't drive very often. Often being our adverb of frequency. And I also said I usually work at home. Usually being the adverb of frequency. That tells you a little bit more about the way in which I do these things. Do I do them all the time? Or do I do them sometimes? We're going to move on to our last piece of talking.
How do you get to work?
Well, it's only a 5-minute walk to the station and then I take the train to my office. It's about 25 minutes on the train and it costs me about £5. Okay, so what do we notice in this final piece of discussion? Again, we've seen them talk about fares and we've seen them talk about length of journey, how long it takes. Can you remember how long my journey into work takes on the train? That's right, it was 25 minutes. So these are all examples of how we can talk about forms of transport and how we use them. For some more practice on this, I have attached some worksheets, so have a go at those and see how you get on, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.